Burgess, Houchin.
Coventry are looking to add a second goal. A fine pass and a fine goal as well. George Thomas puts Coventry 2 goals up.
McNulty. Shipley there up with us. And Shipley deflected! They're turning Wembley sky blue now!
Oh, a lovely nutmeg from O'Hare. That was quite brilliant. And a chance for Gyökeres. He slammed it in.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sky Blue Fans TV. Tonight we'll be talking about, we firstly talking about the Rotherham game for this Saturday, and then on the second half of the show we'll be reviewing our win against Millwall on the Tuesday night. Before I introduce my guests for tonight, I've got a few events that the Tavern have got, or Dylan's Brewery, shall I say, I've got in the next few days. Friday, 24th of February, Harry Pentoni is live at Dylan's Brewery. Saturday, the 4th of March, Dylan's have got a two-tone brewery brunch. 18th of March, Dylan's have got a Bangor brewery brunch as well. And Friday, the 31st of March, is VB live at Dylan's Brewery. If you want, email address is, if you want to email them about more details, it's bar@dylansbrewery.com. Phone number is 02476 667413. Okay, tonight we're going to talk about Saturday's game against Rotherham. I'm delighted to say I've been joined by Matt Lax from the New York podcast. Evening, Matt. How are you doing?
Evening, man. Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, good, thanks. So, looking ahead to the game, Rotherham 1 win in the last 6. How would you assess the season and overall form in recent games?
The recent form was Tuesday. The recent form have been positive. You know, we were undefeated in 4, only having considered 1 goal against Sheffield United, Watford, and Blackburn, and then 0-0 against Blackpool. Well, there was a massive amount of positivity up until about half time on Tuesday. You know, we were 1-0 up. We played really, really well in the first half against Reading, and then some really stupid mistakes costing us. You know, just really silly things. And when we went on a pub at Christmas, around Christmas time, and we were just gifting the opposition little fouls or easy opportunities and things like that. We have to work so hard to try and score a goal, and I'm just gifting people these things, and that crept its ugly little head on Tuesday. Having managed to eradicate that a little bit over the last month or so. So following on from Tuesday, there's a bit of negativity, but if we ignore the second 45 minutes, we've been really good for 4.5 games now. That was a massive step up from where we were over the Christmas period.
Yeah, I saw the goals at Reading. Andy Carroll scored a sort of trademark header from a free kick, which is a bit disappointing. And I guess to concede a goal in the 90th minute is a real kick in the teeth, because a point would have been a useful result already, wouldn't it? I mean, they're the sort of side that don't lose it often at home, but I guess it's just that disappointment. I guess the priority for this Saturday is to use that disappointment in a positive way for us on Saturday.
Yeah, big time. And the goals, when you play against somebody like Andy Carroll, the one thing you don't want to do is give away needless set pieces, because he's going to win a lot of headers. And both set pieces they end up scoring from. One was a really silly free kick that somebody gave away, and the other one was a hugely avoidable corner in the 90th minute. You can't be giving these type of mistakes. In the Championship, these teams are going to have the ability to punish you. If we keep giving teams opportunities, we're going to keep getting punished. But frustrating because other than those are 2 minutes out of a 90-minute game. Other than that, we were really, really good. We are starting to restrict teams, but you just can't be giving little opportunities like that to obviously at this level. It's going to get us done.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the same thing being a Coventry fan. There's been games where you think, it's just individual mistakes cost you games and you get punished for it. And at this level of Championship, it's just ruthless, really. I mean, I've seen it done to us this season. Teams like Norwich City come and, when we have a bad 15, 20 minutes, we could be 3-0 down, and then that's game over. It's just really frustrating. Well, look at obviously there's a couple of new signs I noticed. One being Bailey Wright, who obviously came in from Sunderland. Jordan Hugill was fairly travelled striker, has been at Preston, West Brom, Norwich City. I think Sean Morrison was signed as well, but I believe he's injured.
Out for the season after 2 games.
Yeah, that's just rotten luck, isn't it? How do you assess the new signs? Have they settled in nicely? Any other signings I've missed out?
I think they're sort of the main ones that we've brought in. Bailey Wright, he made his debut against home against Sheffield United, but lasted about 3 seconds and came up with concussion. But on Tuesday night against Reading, he was brilliant. He was really, really. He's obviously a leader in that sort of central defensive position, which we've really, really needed. Hugill has been a bit of a focal point last 3 games. He's not fit. You can tell he's not played for Norwich for quite a while. He lasted an hour against Sheffield United, but was brilliant. Similarly against Blackpool, in the last an hour came off. Against Reading, he had much more of an impact in terms of holding the ball up and sort of linking up the play between the midfield and whatnot. It's been a good window. We were short on numbers. I think with 8 signings in the end. I was discount Sean Morris because he's out for the season, so realistically 7 signings. And we only lost Dan Barlass, so really we needed bodies. We were so desperate for bodies. That's one of the reasons we were so poor, I think, at the Christmas period. We just didn't have anything in reserve. We've all settled in so far really, really well. There's been no real... We look a lot... The strength in depth is really, really good. We're sort of bringing players off on the bench who are decent players. You're not taking off a midfielder for a centre half who's having to do a job, for example, like we were doing. So it's been a really, really good January. Matt Hill has been backed. He's got his own players in now, so there's sort of no excuses. But I suppose we've still got to allow time for all to settle. But so far, the ones that have played, Keane has been injured again, so he's not played yet. Really, all the other ones have settled in really well. To be fair, brought a lot of much needed positivity after how we were over the Christmas period.
And going ahead to this game, any sort of injuries or concerns that Rotherham have after sort of Tuesday night? Any suspensions or anything like that?
No suspensions. Ollie Rathbone came off injured, with a slight groin pull. The hope was that they sort of took him off in time for it not to be too serious for Saturday. That'd be a massive blow. If Ollie Rathbone's not playing for us, that's a massive. As much as we've got strength in depth, that we ain't got a replacement for his energy and his sort of work rate around in that midfield area. And he has been captain as well over the last 3 or 4 games as well. So if he is injured, which we don't know at this stage whether he is going to miss out, that would be a massive blow. The left back Yelder, on loan from Leeds, has missed the last couple of games through injury. I think they're hoping that he will be back and fit ready for Saturday. Other than long-term injuries, I don't think there's anything new that's cropped up, thankfully, other than Rathbone.
Yeah. From the games you've seen this season at the New York Stadium, which teams stood out for you from the games you've seen, or generally even, shall I say?
Strangely, it was Hull is the strange one. They beat us 4-2. I think we got one of our goals in the 90th minute or something like that. They were really, really good. They had Seri in the centre of the pitch. It was just before Rossini took over. It was a game or 2 before he came in. And Seri just sat in the middle of the pitch and just dictated play. He just looked so cool, so calm. Whether we helped them look good on the day, I don't know. But they've obviously moved very quickly up the table under Rossini. It's strange, isn't it? We played Burnley and only lost 3-2, conceding 2 goals in injury time. They didn't look very good against us. We should have picked up us against Norwich. We're undefeated against Sheffield United, beat them and drawn against them. So the top teams were doing quite well against.
Yeah.
Strange. It's the championship, isn't it, I suppose.
It is a strange. I mean, everyone seems to beat each other. I find the Championship. It's sometimes the results definitely go against the form, but there's no kind of consistency. But are you confident that Rotherham can stay up this season beyond this game and onwards? I mean, obviously, next couple of games you've got Sunderland and Swansea. I mean, are they games that you feel you can take points off?
Yeah, I think certainly the home games we've got to be aiming for the home points. Our away record's third worst in the league, something like that. So we will pick up some points away from home, but not many, or not as many as we need. I think it's helped this season by the 4 teams that are currently below us are all a bit mad and a bit basket casey. Cardiff are just, I don't know, they won in midweek, but they've had massive problems. Huddersfield are having to panic and get Neil Warnock in to hope that he can save, and Blackpool similar with Mick McCarthy. And there's Wigan in there as well, who won the third manager of the season. So there's quite a lot of chaos below us. I'm sort of hoping that that'll be enough that they won't pick up enough points. Actually, before the last 45 minutes on Tuesday, I'm sort of thinking, we were 3 points off Reading, wherever they were. Everything were looking quite rosy. But then you lose one game, everybody else starts picking up points. You get dragged in quite quickly.
Yeah.
Still positive, though.
Yeah. I've got to bring Glenn in. Glenn, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for coming on. It's really good to have you on. So basically, we come into the game, obviously, on the back of a win. We'll talk about Mill in a bit, but this is an opportunity for another 3 points, isn't it? Get into at least the top 10. It's a game which I feel is winnable for us, but also a game we can lose if we don't sort of build our mettle.
Yeah, I think our recent form against Rotherham's quite good, but everyone remembers the 4-0 job there in the promotion season, and obviously the 1-1 draw at St Andrews, where I think Rotherham gave us a good game. I think ever since we got up to the Championship, I think we've just had that little bit extra over Rotherham. But yeah, they've made some very good signings. They've lost obviously Barslav, who was really good against us at the CBS in the season. But yeah, they've brought a lot in it, but it's a weird one because their overall form's not been great. But you look at them; they took a point off Watford, a point off Sheffield United, hammered Blackburn, but they've only won 1 in I think 10 or something. So yeah, there's some teams on the bottom in crazy runs. But yeah, like Matt said, if they hang on against Reading, it changes the picture completely. So yeah, I think we've just got to, if we go there and we defend well, we've got players who can score goals or create chances, and that's the thing. We've just got to do our job right. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we have another horror show there, because we're due one under Robbins this season. But yeah, I could probably see us winning comfortably. But yeah, they were very good at the CBS, and I think we probably got away with one, really getting a draw there, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see how we cope with them.
Question, Matt, about Norton Cuffy. Obviously, he had a spell at Rotherham. What was your assessment of him when he was playing for Rotherham at right back or right sort of wing back?
He was positive. He was very raw. He's very clearly only 18-year-old. He played for a bit for Lincoln last season. The previous manager, I think, rated him very, very highly and sort of accepted that his how good he was attackingly was worth his defensive frailties. The new manager, Matt Taylor, he barely played under Matt Taylor, to be fair. Matt Taylor clearly didn't trust him because he wasn't a Matt Taylor signing, and that's one of the reasons. He just wasn't getting the game time at all. So somebody called him and found somewhere else for him to go. He's good going forward. If he get the ball at his feet, and he struggled to cross the ball, but he could make up the yards very, very quickly. And if you allow him to, he can take control of that right hand side for us. But just like the new manager, just for some reason, didn't rate him at all.
Yeah. I think he's good going forward. Not 100% sure about him defensively, but he had a good game. I thought he had probably his best game in midweek against Millwall. He did well against Burnley as well. But he looks a decent talent, and I think he'll be a big player for us in the remaining games to come. I know you've got to shoot quickly, Matt, because you've got your podcast in the next 10 minutes. So
can I just ask Matt a quick question, Mark?
Yeah, go on. Go ahead, Glenn. Go on.
I just noticed Cuffy early in the season. He played in like a defensive midfield role for you guys, in front of like your back three. Which position do you think he did best at? The wing back or that like defensive midfield? Because obviously Paul Warren played him there, which was just interesting. Then, like you said, he faded out a bit afterwards. Which one do you think suits him better?
Certainly right wing back. If he played at sort of central, it would have only been a couple of, wouldn't have been even for full game. I would have thought it would have just covered there when we were short on bodies. Yeah, certainly out wide. I think his pace suits being a wide man. You know, like he's got to learn defensively, but I think he gives a bit more freedom, a bit more space to run into. I don't think he's physical enough for a central role either yet. That may change in future. But I just don't think he's got the physicality in the Championship to play that sort of role consistently.
Yeah. Go predictions for this game. So I know you've got to shoot, Matt. So what are you going for this game?
I'll go positive, and I will go 1-0 win for us. Home form's key for us, massive for us. So I've got to back it.
Yeah. Glenn, what's the view from our side?
1-0. Luke Manali does the Leo Ostergaard off a corner header. I fancy another Lone Ranger to strike good for us.
Yeah. I'm useless at predictions, so I'm going to say we're going to win this game, which I know is going to be a really, really bad thing to say because I usually get it wrong. So I think it'll be a close game. I'm going for a 2-1, a nervy win. But I have to say, I thought Rotherham at the CBS early in the season, I thought were really good. I thought they surprised a lot of people. So I don't think we can underestimate them. They're a very good side. I think it'd be disappointed with where they are in the league, but at least they're above, the trap door, so to speak. So I think it'll be a tight game, but I think it's definitely a game we need to win. Whether we can do or not is another thing. But I've got a feeling we can win 2-1. So that's my view. So Matt, I know you got to shoot and do your pod, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. And I wish you luck after Saturday. So.
I knew.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Good luck, Matt. Good luck by Saturday, mate.
Yeah.
Hope you stay up.
Thank you. Oh, maybe this time, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Cheers, guys.
See you. Right. Okay, I'm going to take a very quick break, and then we'll bring Vicky in, and then we'll talk Millwall. Glenn, if you want to stay on, it's up to you. It'd be good to have you on. So yeah, we'll be back very shortly. Thanks very much.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back. Just going to bring Vicky into the chat. Evening, Vicky. How you doing?
Evening, Mark. Good, thanks. You?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Very good. So we'll talk a little bit about Rotherham as well if we want, and then we'll go to the Millwall game and reflect on our win on Tuesday night. Before we go into the game itself, Robbins makes a couple of changes ahead of the game. Norton Cuffey and Jake Bidwell return to the side in place of the suspended Wilson Esbrand, and Matty Godden obviously was out injured for that game. Did you agree to start 11, Glenn? Any changes there you're surprised with, or pretty much the team picked itself for you?
I'm glad he played Eccles midfield. It's something I want to see us do. I think we've had our better results or better runs of form when Eccles has played midfield for us. Godden was a disappointment, but it's one of those you risk it running it, pushing him back, and he probably played him a little bit longer on Saturday against Luton than he wanted to. Maybe he should have made that substitution 10 minutes earlier, and then Godden wouldn't have had the problem. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy. Like I say, I was happy with Cuffey. I didn't have to shout at him to take his man on enough. Well, he actually did it. I think the second time that I shouted at him where he fizzed it across goal. But yeah, and Eccles, I don't think he had his best game there, but if she's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, we cannot play Hamer and Allen as a midfield two, because we're either brilliant or we're garbage. As it shows, we beat Sheffield United 4-1 with them playing there, and then we absolutely got roasted at home by Hull 2-0. So we Eccles just gives us that little bit of a presence in there, and we just looked far better balanced. But yeah, really, I was really happy with the team. The only downside is I think he made the substitutions late again, but that's Robbins for you. But no, I thought he got it spot on.
He did, but I mean, I guess it's one of those ones where if we lose the game, then fans will say, "Why did you not make changes?" But because we won the game, then that no one said anything really. Vicky, you agree with Glenn? Do you think that was the right side he picked there for that game?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with Glenn. It's nice to see Eccles getting some midfield time. I feel sorry for him, how often he gets pushed back to back to sort of cover injuries and whatever, when obviously he really wants to be a midfielder. That's his position, isn't it? So it's nice for him to get some minutes, and hopefully now might get a few weeks. I mean, it's obviously a shame and disappointing that Sheaf's injured, because he's obviously an integral part of our sort of key 11, I think. But this hopefully will give Eccles a good few weeks and build a bit of momentum, and that could only be good for us and him going forward, can't it? I think. So yeah, I thought that was good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Eccles was good in midfield. I think that's his natural position as well. Don't forget, he's been playing out of position pretty much for a lot of his career at Coventry, really. So it's good to see him in midfield in his sort of preferred position. Going into the game itself, Glenn, I mean, generally speaking, on the whole, we were the better side for certainly the large portion of the game. Were you disappointed by Millwall's setup and tactics, or do you think it was kind of expected from what you from your perspective?
I think it was kind of predictable what they were going to do. We saw them at CBS last season, where they let us have a lot of the ball. We had a few good chances, and then they suckered us on with a late goal, and that was the worry on Tuesday night. It was the longer it went where we didn't take the chances, you think they're going to have a chance. And I think there was a few of their players probably didn't play as well as they could do. The lad Fleming, I don't think had his best game, and he's been playing really well for him. Bradshaw normally does really well against us historically. I don't think he really caused us that much trouble. I thought Faz, McNally and Doyle handled it quite well. And I thought the only real times they were going to cause us any problem was out wide, when they just overloaded us with the wide player and then the fullback getting in. But yeah, we dominated them. Some of the football was brilliant. I mean, the two moves that led to Vic's two chances were great. Casey Palmer, the two of the balls he picked were absolutely brilliant. I mean, the second one to Vic, where he's should have gone round the keeper, and his keeper's come out to him, he's blocked it, and then it's gone off Vic and just ricocheted wide. That is an absolute brilliant ball. If someone else like De Bruyne does that, you'd be raving about that. And he looked actually fired up for it. I think one of the Millwall fans, I don't know whether his dad or used to be involved with Millwall, so maybe he just had a little bit of a point to prove, but he was on it. I thought the Hamer come into it a lot second half. I thought Cuffy was really good. He takes on his man. He went a bit roaming, which is what Matson did, and I like that. And he was a threat. The disappointing was we just probably should have been 1-0 up before we were. But I don't think that's the best first half we played. Probably, I would say, since QPR at home. I'll probably say that's the best first half we went.
I think West Brom at home.
First half.
West Brom at home. I'd say West Brom at home.
Yeah,
well.
I'd probably give that. But I think West Brom had a few good. West Brom had a few good chances that half. I don't think Millwall ever really looked like causing us any problems. But yeah, it was. We were back like we were. We had a bit of a bite to us. We got stuck in a bit, so that was nice to see. And we didn't get roughed up as much. Second half was a bit more. Last 10 minutes was watch behind close your eyes because they just looked it on us. But no, I thought we caused them a lot of trouble. And it showed because they picked up bookings, stupid fouls again, much like Luton did on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I agree about Casey Palmer. I think he was pretty much up there as man of the match for me. His link-up play, probably his best game for the club, I would say. Vic, would you agree with that with Palmer? He looked sublime, didn't he, with his passing and his all-round attacking play, the quality.
And the fact that, quite late on, about like the 80th minute, he was sort of like chasing down the ball, running. The energy that he just displayed for 90 minutes was amazing. I think. When he first played Leamington away, like pre-season, I thought, oh, he looks like a player. This looks like a good possible signing here. And I think he's been gradually getting better each time he's had the opportunities to play. But what the couple of people I sit by, we were commenting on Tuesday night, was how much he looks like trimmer. He looks like all his time with a bit more fitter, a bit hungrier, and I just think I agree with you. That he's cracking signing, and I'm quite excited about how far.
Your microphone's going a bit. I think your microphone's going a bit. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, Vic.
Oh, is it? Good. Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah,
So sorry, I just was saying I'm excited about what type of player we've got there and how far he can go. I think and I don't know whether we can work out a way to get both him and O'Hare in when they're both fit, because that's going to cause trouble to some teams. Like teams will be able to cope with that. They both have got so much energy and chasing down, winning. That's going to be such a high press. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that evolves really.
Well, hopefully O'Hare will make a good recovery sort of next season. Yeah. Probably around September, October. He's maybe back, but we'll obviously have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, it's really intriguing to see. I kind of agree with Glenn said earlier. I think it's a sort of game where I was concerned about the fact that we were missing chances in the first half. And Gyökeres hasn't scored in such before the game. He hadn't scored in such a while. And I was thinking, he's missed them 2 chances. I'm just thinking that Millwall at some point are going to take one chance and then they're going to sit it out for 1-0, and then we've lost the game. But I thought I was really, really pleased with the application of the team. I thought we set up really well. Really, Millwall did not look a team to me that were in the playoffs. They looked a team, if anything, we looked a team that were in the playoffs. I thought we were fantastic. I think my only concern on that game was how we defended against set pieces. I thought that for me, particularly after we scored, we did sort of sit back a lot, which I guess is understandable because we were trying to sort of hold on to a lead. Although me personally, I don't like seeing that. I like to see us be a bit more on the front foot. What was the atmosphere like, Vicky, sort of after the goal? Was it quite nerve-wracking?
I think I don't know. It was a bit frustrating, I suppose, like you said, because we did start sitting back, didn't we? And I think up until the goal, like we were starting to build a bit of momentum, and I was thinking, I could see a goal coming soon. Like when you sort of started to build up that bit of momentum. We played well the whole game, but we were really just starting to get that bit of momentum going. And I thought, hopefully this is going to result in a goal. And Millwall were really just struggling to cope with this at that stage. The sort of midfield and like Vic and Palmer was just too much, and we get the goal, and I'm thinking just push on for the second. Like this game's for the taking, and then we start sitting back and we make it difficult for ourselves there because then Millwall, like, 'cause obviously they want to point. I mean, I think like the Millwall Matty from the Millwall podcast said they really needed the 3 points because they've got some difficult games coming up, and if they've got ambitions of the playoffs, they needed to be winning against us really. So they obviously came back into the game thinking that they need some points here. And I think we allowed them, which was just a bit frustrating because they'd nothing up into that point, had they? I mean, I don't know why we didn't just keep on pushing on. I mean, I suppose it's difficult, isn't it? I suppose the problem is it's probably a confidence thing, isn't it? We haven't won a lot since the World Cup break. It's gone a bit pear-shaped. I guess maybe if we'd been on a win of wins, we might have just carried on pushing. I guess players were maybe just a little bit nervous about like losing. They'd managed to get that lead and they didn't want to throw it away when we really needed the win, didn't we? So I don't know if that made any difference to the sort of the mindset. It was interesting actually. When I got home, I watched some of it back on Sky, and I hadn't realised that every time we've won a game this season, it's been with a clean sheet. So basically, as long as we keep a clean sheet, we're basically winning. So that sort of highlights the problem that we were having when conceding those silly early goals, wasn't it? Because then we're never coming back to win a game. We have to have had a clean sheet to sort of get the 3 points. And so I think the fact that we started so strongly on Tuesday, I mean, there was a chance in the first couple of minutes, wasn't there? We were pushing right from the outset. It was just such a different from recent weeks. So that was positive as well, I thought.
Yeah, I thought... I mean, a comment here from Veta D about, the the guys that Fancy McNally and Doyle was solid about. I think they're by far the best 3 defenders we've got available to us for selection. I thought Panzo started well, but I think his form's kind of deteriorated a little bit. Rose has been okay, but I don't think he doesn't get ahead of those 3 players. No, I think McNally for me is class. I mean, you can see why. I mean, hopefully he's a guy we can sign, maybe, but that might be wishful thinking. We'll have to wait and see. Doyle's maturing. He's growing into a really good footballer, and obviously he signed a long-term contract at Manchester City, so they obviously think very highly of him.
Yeah, I heard that from my Man City friend. She was saying how highly rated he is, and I think sadly we've got no hope of getting it. I mean, I suppose there's an outside chance we could get him back on loan. They have to be developing it well. But I think there's no chance of holding it. Nice to get back on loan and maybe sign Gally and have our own player and have them 3 as I think back 3 and then Andrew and Moses after that this season, wasn't it? We're on the 6 back not those 3 good and then have Andrew and
your headset going into Vicky, sorry.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
This is new as well. I'm gonna have to send it back and complain. Like this is new.
I'll be now. Yeah. Glenda's going to bring you back in to talk about the goal. I mean, that was just a really top strike from Gyökeres. Not just a strike, but the fact that I think he received the pass from Doyle back to goal, and he just, almost says to the defender, "Get off me," and then an unstoppable shot into the far corner. I mean, that's the sort of goal where you can see why teams are linked with him. Sadly, but it was just class, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I was struggling. I was thinking to myself, like, which players could have done that, and the only 2 that come to mind is that was like Drogba. I remember him doing that a few times where he just roll the defender, or like Thierry Henry. I don't actually think Cresswell did that much wrong with him. Yeah. I just think it was just pure. Once he got it, he's just done. And then the finish, which he hasn't done enough. I don't think he did it a bit more on Tuesday. He shot early, whereas I think in a few times he's been guilty of maybe just taking the extra couple of touches. When if he actually lets rip, if he just turns and gets a bit of space and hits it, he can really hit it. But yeah, it was. I think everyone's just like, wow, that's just. You think you've seen the best goal he scored all season, and then he just pulls that out of the bag, and that's the reason why I still think we've got a chance at the playoffs, because if we defend, we've got enough players in our team who, if they stay fit, who can do that moment of magic that is the difference maker. And that's the thing. Millwall didn't have that difference maker. I don't think Luton had that difference maker like we do. I think there's quite a lot of bunch teams, and there's probably a few that have that one class player. And I think we've actually probably got 4 or 5 once she's back. And I think that's just the frustration when you look at Luton, you look at Millwall. They're good sides, but they're not. They haven't got that little bit of an X factor that we have. Like, probably you compare us like with Forest last year. They had like Brennan Johnson, Garner. I'll probably missed out a few more. That little bit extra quality, and that's what Vic gives us. If we keep him fit, and I can't remember the last time he didn't play for us. I think he's played every game since he's come back, literally in some form. He's either come on a sub up, so he doesn't miss games. If we keep him fit for 15 games and we defend, we've got a chance, and that's the positive with it. But I think there's a bit like we're over reliant on him, and I don't think we are. I think he hadn't scored in 7 games before that, and I don't think he'd scored in open play. Swansea was the last time, so I don't think we're over reliant on him. But he is a class above, and that's the argument I said to one of my mates. Was saying about Akpong. I think Akpong, although he's scored more goals than Vic, he's having that McNulty season, that one good season where strikers have. I think Vic's going to go on and have a miles better career. We just need to get him a new contract and get as much money as we can in the summer for him. But yeah, that's up there with some of the best goals I've seen COF players score.
Yeah, I think that definitely rivals the goal against Wigan, because that goal against Wigan was an incredible goal as well. That sort of solo run, about 90th minute, and slams it past the keeper. It's almost like that goal. It was almost a shot of anger, as to say, you know what, I'm fed up of not scoring for quite a while. I'm going to smash it into the far corner. And it was just a brilliant strike. I was unfortunately I wasn't at the game, but my wife had to calm me down quite a lot when I saw the goal go in. So delighted to see it go in. And yeah, I mean, as I say, I think let's go through a few comments here from our audience. Michael Moore, evening, Michael. Hope you're well. I was surprised to see how average Millwall looked. It was only the last 10 minutes that they posed any threat at all. I think for me with Millwall, Vic, Glenn, feel free to chime in about. I felt when Millwall brought the subs on, I think it was a guy called SE or something like that who came on. He missed a really good chance.
The 50 got in. He got in twice. Alan didn't track him twice because I lost my rag with Alan and when he did it. But yeah, he had one where he's just fizzed it across, and then there was another one. I think I don't know whether he had the one where McNally cleared it off the line. But yeah, the problem was they just overloaded us. They played so many players. Literally, I think at one point they had 5 up front, literally across our back 5, and we just didn't have that streetwise where bring Kelly on, shut the game up, and just have that little bit of streetwiseness on it, and that's just where the cause problem. But I think we made like 19 clearances, and I bet most of them were second half, and they only had 2 shots on target, which is nothing really. I don't think they had a shot on goal till second half really. So I thought we defended well, but the problem is we've got that Swansea game in the back of our heads, and it's going to stay in the back of our heads for a while, because it's just, that's the worry. It's always going to just get that little bit more jittery than it should do. If that hadn't happened, we'd all be like, yeah, we've done it. We've kept out Watford, we've kept out West Brom and blah, blah. But now, because that Swansea game's happened, you think, yeah, we could just self-destruct.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think it is a psychological thing. I just felt that after we got the goal, the ball just didn't really stick, did it? Every time we cleared the ball, they would get to the ball first, and then we were having to defend, and they were pushing us back, they were penning us in a bit, and it was a bit of a struggle.
The trouble
Go on, Vic, yeah.
So I was going to say the trouble about what you were just saying there, Mark. The trouble was, in the first half and up until when we scored, if they had a corner or a free kick or anything, we were putting like Vic up front, and generally Allen or Eccles, or like a couple of players in midfield. So they had to drop some defenders back. And then if we won the ball from the corner, we had someone to feed onto. But all of a sudden, once they were trying to get an equaliser, like I don't know if you noticed, but those corners we were putting Vic back in defence, and we had literally nobody up front. So we won the ball back, we had no one to play to. And it's just crazy. So we were just inviting the pressure, because we had no outlet. Whereas if we kept like hang around, or at least play out. So that was part of the strategy. We avoided that 10 minutes crazy pressure, and then all they did is throw balls. And I don't think there was any thought particularly to their like attempts to. Like, we were talking before about Palmer's balls through like Bolton, and even like Dora's balls through for the goal. They weren't doing anything like that. They were just like bombarding us. But unfortunately, we were less than them. Everyone behind the ball. There's no outlet. I just found that crazy. Behind me were getting, they were going crazy. But then just one look up, Robins, and I mean, I guess we won, and so it's all okay. But I just think we probably made it harder for ourselves.
Yeah. I think your mic again is going a bit, Victoria. Really sorry to say that.
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. I can hear you now. Yeah. So every time you sort of like speak, you speak fine, but it kind of goes a bit quiet, a bit muffled. So I apologise.
I'm going to be making I'm going to be complaining. As I said, this is new, so it should be like good. So a complaint will be going in after we finish this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You do that. There's a massive points for pure. And he made the point about we need to start getting on a run if we want the playoffs. I mean, me personally, I've seen on previous shows that I'd be happy with a top 10 finish, but I know from listening to the players that they feel they can do more than that, can do better than that, and there's no reason why we can't win our next 3 games, and that's a point that Mark Reed makes as well. Even Mark about we have the opportunity to win all them games, especially the next 6. I mean, we've got Rotherham away on Saturday, Sunderland at home, which will be a cracking game potentially, if especially if we win, and then Preston away, which obviously is a game we don't get a lot of joy from, as we all know. But do you feel there are 3 games we can pick up, even 9 points or not?
Yeah, but I think the thing is, there's very few teams in this league. I mean, I think Glenn alluded to it, didn't he? That Millwall didn't really look like they were the team in the playoffs. Probably we look more like the team that were in the playoffs. And I think quite often teams come and they're doing well and they're in the playoffs, and you're thinking they don't look that good. I'm not sure what all the fuss is about. And I think that's the thing. There's like a sort of steady level of teams in the Championship. And once you take a sort of maybe Burnley and Sheffield United, probably even Middlesbrough now, because obviously they're flying. I think after that you can really beat anybody, and I think on our day we are definitely capable of beating anybody in the league. I think, like Glenn said, we've got the players that can make a difference in a game, like players like Vic or Palmer or Hamer. They can just step up with a moment of brilliance and just change a game, and not every team has got that. So I think on our day we can beat anybody. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get 9 points out of the next 3 games. I think they're all winnable games, and if we build a bit of momentum and a bit of confidence, I mean, it'd be great to beat Preston, because we really owe them one, don't we? So if we could get 3 points against Rotherham and then 3 points against Sunderland and go into that game with a lot of confidence. There's no reason why we couldn't then get another 3 points there. I think is that that's and I think was it Mark who's just Mark Reed just said the next 6 games. I think see where we are, see how we've done, and then see whether playoffs is a viable shot or not. And I think we just keep on going until it's not. I think a bit like last season, we kept on going until it became mathematically impossible. You just keep on seeing where it takes you to, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's just exciting, and it's much better than being in silly relegation battles, isn't it? At least we're at the right end of the table, looking at the right sort of direction. So that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been a bit. I mean, in previous shows, I've been a little bit downbeat because we've lost games I felt like we should have lost. But I think what's made the biggest difference for me is Carl McFadden coming back into the starting lineup. It's his leadership, his organisation. I mean, Michael made a point here about, hopefully we can get Doyle McNally or both on loan next season, and they could learn a lot from Fads. And I think that's the hope, definitely, because he for me is a leader. You can see when he comes on the pitch, the way he's speaking to the players, he's pointing directions, he's pointing where to go. He's a real leader, and he's been really, really missed in the games where he hasn't been around, because if he's fit, I think we pick up the games there we've dropped points on. I think we would win if he's in the team, because he just gives you that bit of solidity at the back. But also what he's good at, although he's not blessed with pace, his anticipation of play, knowing when to put the tackle in, is really good. I mean, there were a couple of instances actually in the All game where he was a bit robust in his defensive play. I think there was one instance on Bradshaw, I remember in the first half, where they thought it could have been a penalty, but I think it was just good good defending, I'd say, more than anything. I think the other player I want to say who's done really well this season has been Gus Hamer. He had a bad start of the season, he had 2 reds, but since then, I don't even think he's picked up a yellow card, and he's chips in a few goals as well, and he looks a really, really good player. I just feel you just got to go for it, as the song goes. Go for it, City. That's what it's about. You got to go for it, because you just don't know what the next season's going to bring. You don't know what the future's going to bring. With the Gyökeres situation, which is obviously is a lot, always speculation on social media about that. I think it's possible. I mean, I look at who we've got to play between now and the end of the season, next 15 games. We've got what probably on paper, I must say on paper, Sunderland at home, Watford at home, and Borough away, for me, from the remaining games, look possibly the hardest games.
Yeah.
But they're not. They are winnable games at the same time. But they are games we can win. So I think there's a lot of reasons to feel optimistic for the next 15 games, and I'm really happy that Fads is back, because I really think he's made a massive difference. Because the fact that he's helping to keep clean sheets, for me I feel very encouraged by everything at the moment.
Good. I think the thing with Fads as well is it's his streetwiseness, isn't it? I think I've really liked Doyle all season. I think he looks quality, and I think at some point in a couple of years he'll be playing Premier League football, and in a couple more years probably playing for England. And it'd be nice to think that part of his development was with us. It's always nice, isn't it, to watch England and think, oh yeah, when that season he was playing for Coventry, and I think that's as good a player as he will be. I think he has got that capacity to go right to the top, but he's young, and so he sometimes makes mistakes, and not mistakes because he doesn't know what he's doing, but more just mistakes because the striker might be a bit older and a bit more streetwise, and he just gets tricked into something. Whereas Fads just doesn't let that happen, does he? Because he's been there around the block and he knows what the game's about. And so while he's there alongside Doyle, he's teaching him that, isn't he? And that's what's adding to his game. And it's just that bit of streetwiseness. Like he did it against Luton and against Millwall, bought a foul that got rid of all the pressure that we were under. So it's just things like that where, rather than trying to maybe be clever, sometimes you just buy a foul like that and everyone reset again. It's just things like that, isn't it? Just about knowing what the best thing to do under those circumstances are.
Yeah, it's just taking that pressure off, isn't it? It's not. I mean, I felt a little bit. I felt after the goal against Millwall, it was a bit nerve wracking because we just didn't quite. The ball never really stuck up front. We needed that ball to stick, and then there have been gaps and opportunities to get that second goal. I'm being a bit overcritical because we won the game. It doesn't matter, but I think that's where we've got to be a bit better when we're in front. Is we've got to then try and dictate the game and don't let the opposition. I don't like the fact that we sit back and invite pressure. Because as you saw, as Glenn mentioned before, the Swansea game, that's what led to our downfall because we just sat back, and we allowed them to dictate the game, and then we paid the price for it. So I think that's probably something we need to improve for the games ahead. I think Rotherham will be a tough game Saturday. They're fighting for their lives. We've seen them at the CBS early in the season. They're a better side than what people thought. I think I was quite impressed with Cohen Bramble actually when he was playing on that left side the last game at the CBS.
Yeah.
That was a game I think he scored and he completely done Dabo for pace. I think Dabo picked up an injury in the process as well. So let's face it, it's not going to be an easy game. But if we want playoffs, we've got to win. We've got to improve our away form. We've only picked up 3 wins all season, and that's not good enough. So I think that's something we need to address. And hopefully, it's the start of a run. That's what we've got to use. We've got to use this win as a springboard to better things now.
Definitely. It's just building up that confidence, isn't it? And then, I think against Millwall, just things were starting to click a bit. You could just see like some of the interplay and some of the interplay was just brilliant, wasn't it? And I think like that, those sorts of like interactions between players, because I guess I suppose that's the trouble, isn't it? We've been lucky with injuries, so we've had to keep on changing things around a bit, and some like players like Palmer have just come in this season, so they're getting to know everybody. It does take it, and it's all been a bit disjointed, hasn't it, for one reason or another. So, but it just really felt on Tuesday that like the little players were starting to like really build relationships with others, and that was really starting to click. And some of like the interplay was just cracking. So just with a bit of confidence and a bit of momentum, I think it could be a really exciting end to the season. But you know me, I'm always optimistic.
Yeah, even I'm saying optimistic tonight, which makes a change.
If they're making you optimistic, it's good times, isn't it?
yeah, I'm trying to enjoy it. A few comments. Glenn, our panelist, be positive and aim to win the next game. Don't get too far ahead. Sounds like Mark Robbins saying that. I think that's what Mark Robbins will be saying to the players. Feta D, similar sort of comment. Take it game by game. If we win on Saturday against Rotherham, it'll give us a massive confidence boost going to a very difficult game week on Saturday. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Sunderland on paper will be a tough game. But look, we've played teams like West Brom that came on the crest of the wave when they came to CBS and when we turned them over 1-0. So, I think it's a game to be excited about. But let's look at Rotherham first and let's hope the players do the job on Saturday. Glenn's got another comment here about the games before the March international break is a massive chance to get near to that 55 point and then 8 games left after that. Yeah, I mean, we've got, 42 points. So, if we can get to at least 50 fairly quickly, that would be really good. But there's only 5 points between ourselves, Watford, who are in that 6th spot. We've got a game in hand on them, but obviously there's other sides above who are also in a decent position. Last kind of a good week of 3 positive results will jump us up the table. I think potentially if we win on Saturday, that puts us in the top 10. So I just feel Rotherham will be a harder game. What people might think, I don't think it'll be as easy.
I think it will be
hard.
We
can't just go there thinking we've won the game. We've got to approach the game the right manner. If we play like we did against Millwall at Rotherham, we'll win. But we just need that consistency of performance now, isn't it? That's the next step.
We've played Rotherham quite a lot recently, haven't we? Obviously, they've followed us while we were coming back to the league. So it's also a good game, isn't it? I'd be surprised, especially that the players have been underestimating it. Enough players that have been around it long enough to know that Rotherham was a good game. And especially going back to the season before that, we had a bit of a nightmare away, didn't we? So I think
Mike's going again. Sorry, Vic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that. I think we've played Rotherham enough in recent seasons for the players to know that that's not an easy rollover. And I think most fans will know that as well.
Yeah, I'd take a 1-0 at Rotherham.
Yeah.
I don't care how well or badly we play. I just want to win. If we can get that win and then play Sunderland, which I think will be a really mouth-watering fixture, and get beat them, it'll be happy days because Sunderland for me probably are one of the form teams in division right now, probably with the exception of Burnley.
Yeah.
So we'd be lucky if we could beat them. So just to finish the show, what are you going for prediction-wise for this game against Rotherham? I didn't ask you that question earlier.
I'm going to go 2-1 to us, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going 2-1 as well, which is worrying.
Oh dear. I'm going as well, and see Miles and Ken on the Sky Blue Tavern coach. So
yeah,
looking forward to the nice day out.
Yeah, have you been to Rotherham before?
Not the new ground, so I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to their old ground, so first time to the new ground. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. How many sold ticket wise? About over 2,000, I think.
I think it sold out, didn't it? I'm sure. I'm sure it sold out. Right. I don't know. Just got my ticket and ready to go.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So if we don't get a good result, it's your fault for predicting a win when you always predict that we won't.
Oh no, I should have gone for a draw now, shouldn't I? I should have said Rotherham to win. In fact, I might change my mind. Rotherham have won. Rotherham 2-0 win. There you go. I'll be wrong. But hopefully we'll win this game. Vesta D 3-1 Cov win. Yeah, I think that's possible. Mark Reed going 1-0 to the City. Fingers crossed. I think a clean sheet would be lovely as well. Keep that form going. But let's hope we get that win and see what happens. So that's finished for tonight. Just one other thing, Miles has got his show obviously with the fans. So if you are going to Rotherham and you see Miles with his Sky Blue Fans TV microphone, obviously feel free to speak to him. He'll be speaking with the fans before the game, so obviously he'll be asking for your views on that. So fingers crossed that we get that result. So thanks Vicky for coming on tonight. Thanks Glenn, and thanks to Matt from the New York fan podcast, Rotherham United podcast. Thanks for coming on tonight. Next show is Miles' show. I think it's around 2 o'clock roughly on Saturday. We'll post that on our social media channels on that. We'll have a review show as usual on Sunday at 7:30. Fingers crossed we'll be talking about a win against Rotherham. And then we've got another show Thursday night with the Sunderland preview show. I'm hoping to get someone from the Roker Report podcast to talk more about Sunderland. And thanks to you, everyone listening tonight. Thank you for your comments. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll speak to you on Saturday on Miles' show. So everyone take care, good night, and play up Sky Blues.